What is up, sports geeks? It's your host, Josh, here back with a college basketball episode, first college basketball episode of the entire year, joined by the college basketball guru himself, Nick. Nick, how you doing, man?
I tell you what, it is great to be back for another year of college basketball. And if the season's going to be anything like week one, we are in for a treat once again. And, I'm just happy to be back and get back into it again.
Absolutely. Well, yeah, week one was a doozy. So to say the least. And week two is going to be great. We have Champions Classic starting tomorrow. The Friday slate is absolutely spectacular. I haven't looked at what Thursday night football game there is because there's not a single ranked team in college basketball playing Thursday. So hopefully it's a good a good Thursday night football game. But it's gonna be a great week two here. But we got an agenda here that I'll throw out on the screen here. So we have 5 different things we're running over every single week here: a team of the week, an anti-team of the week, the loser of the week, if you will, the player of the week, game of the week coming up, and then our upset watch. So we're gonna hop right into it here. The team of the week of this past week that's happened. Who is your team of the week, Nick?
So my team of the week, which I feel like a lot of people ride around there, a mid-major team you don't really ever hear of. You only know of them because their coach has been there for 16 years, and he's the meme of him screaming in the locker room, "Let's go." I got to go with North Florida. They're 3-0 to start the new year. I mean, they have only 3 games in 7 days. 2 of them they went on the road and beat Power Five teams, which
Yeah.
tied their win total against Power Five teams in their whole history of their program. Like they're playing insane. I mean, they went into Georgia Tech, put up 105. They're playing really good basketball, and they lost their best player to Tennessee.
Mhm.
So I mean, if you think about that, if he decided he would have came back instead of hitting the portal, obviously for NIL reasons, this could be a legitimate like upset-minded team come tournament time. And I mean, you've been looking at they've had the same coach for 16 years, and usually at places like North Florida, that doesn't usually happen.
No. No, it doesn't. And I looking at this North Florida team, there's several aspects to it that make me think that they can make a run in March, right? There are 4 leading scorers. I know, like you're saying, there are only 3 games in the season, right? Look into it what you will. For all 4 of their leading scorers in 2 games against Power 5 teams are 50% plus from the floor. You have
Yep.
it's balanced there. You also have Josiah Miles, who is a 6'6" everything. Whatever you need, he can do it. And that's a guy that if you look into late in the season, you need a closer. Josiah Miles can do that. Also, Liam Murphy is lights out from 3. I mean, lights out. So we're going to be talking about a couple of. There's one other shooter I know we're going to get to later in this. In that I know maybe the best shooter in the nation. But Liam Murphy, if you're talking about those mid majors, he is up there. He can shoot the crap out of the ball. I love North Florida's team league. Hard to not pick him there, right?
Yeah, I mean, they're extremely efficient throughout the whole week. They were extremely efficient, like you said. They have multiple guys who can play not only inside, but they can also play outside. They shoot
Hmm.
the crap out of the three ball. And, especially when you have a coach, like I said, who's been there for 16 years, he's had his system. Everybody knows his system because all these players are 3 to 4 year guys. Those are teams that you don't want to see. And sadly, Georgia has to see them on Tuesday. So we'll see if they start out the year 4-0 and get another Power Five win.
Yeah, for my team of the week here, I have to go Auburn. They're the way they ended last season, I think was terrible end to a great season. And you look at the beginning of this year, how do you kickstart your season? A win against Houston is the perfect way to, and that's exactly what they go beat Houston, number 4 ranked Houston. You go knock them off. You have the returning leadership that I think you need. Auburn does here, right? You have John I. Broom in there. You still have Baker Madarza, and you have him in there. He's going to fight somebody at some point, but you also have some good young talent in there, right? And I know you're going to touch on the stud of a point guard here that I'm not even going to say anything about because I'm not going to steal a shine there. But I think this Auburn team has a good balance of leadership and of young talent, but based off of the win against Houston and with you taking North Florida, I have to have Auburn as the easy runner up for team of the week in my opinion.
Yeah, no, if you had to pick a Power Five team to be the team of the week, it would easily be Auburn. I
Hmm.
mean, people can say that this was a neutral site game. I mean, yeah, they weren't playing obviously at the Fertitta Center, but they were playing in Houston.
Yeah.
Like this is they're playing in Houston's backyard. Like the whole arena was Houston fans. And
Yeah.
then obviously, like you said, there might be fights on the plane. on the plane literally to Houston on Friday night. Two players got kicked off the flight, and they weren't there to play. So, like, this Auburn team is, like you said, like they just Bruce Pearl as a whole. He lives and dies by being able to get through all these hurdles. Like he's done it. He's been investigated. He's had staffers get investigated. He's had players get kicked off of his team, and he's had to fire his own assistants because just everybody around him for some reason seems to just get into some type of trouble. But guess who always prevails from it? It's Bruce Pearl. If anybody's going to deal with it, it's going to be him. And he might sweat through 5 shirts whenever he coaches a game. But I tell you what, he is such a good coach to where that he was willing to take his team, which is, like you said, a mixture of a bunch of freshmen and a bunch of veterans, take them on the road to play a top 5 team who, in all reality, is still even a top 5 team still, even after the loss, just because they lost Jamal Shed last year. That's impressive to do. And most teams, they would look at that opportunity and they would shy away because it's the first week and they don't need to go on the road and play a game like this.
Yeah, no, I love Auburn. I mean, I love them. I think they had an absolutely great start to the season here. I'd be curious to see what they do here in the coming weeks. But so we talked on our team of the weeks. The not so fun. This is where you're hoping your team never gets mentioned all season. The anti team of the week, the losers of the week. Who do you have as yours?
This one kills me to do because the head coach is a graduate of my high school, Elder High School, but I have to go with Louisville. I hate doing it because obviously it's his first year. You don't expect them to do much. You hope that they're above 500, maybe sneak into the tournament because the ACC is depleted. But you're getting a home game against a top 20 team in Tennessee, and you just get flat out blown out. You didn't stand a chance the whole game. I mean, from tip, I think by the time it hit the under 16, I want to say it was already like 16-4, 16-5, and the writing was on the wall. You could tell. I mean, by the time they got to the 10-minute mark in the first half, they had 6 points from their starters, and it was 2 threes from their point guard and their shooting guard. I mean, you just look at it and you can see that wasn't really the problem, though. It wasn't the guards. I think the guards actually held their own and played well. Rain Smith came in and played really well off the bench. I thought he did really well for his first high-level action game besides a tournament game here or there. But the problem is going to be down low. Cason Pryor's not big enough. The transfer James from that he brought with him from Charleston, they're just not big enough. You see them go up against the center and the power forward for Tennessee, and you could easily see the height difference in just the way they play. And I thought that was the biggest problem is they just got destroyed down low. So sadly, they are my loser of the week because you're in a week 1 matchup. You could probably catch Tennessee maybe sleeping because it's, like I said, it's week 1. You're at home. You have a whiteout on a Saturday noon. Everybody's there because I'm almost positive Louisville didn't have a home football game. And you just absolutely poop down your leg. And there you go. You lose by 22 at home.
It's tough there because this Louisville team, I didn't know Pat Kelsey went to Elder, by the way, but
Yeah.
I like him as a coach. I like him as a coach. I mean, I like what he did with Charleston right now. He's coming over here. This team is just built on every single player here to transfer, right? You look at every player not only in transfer in their first year here. I mean, like you mentioned Cation Pryor, from USF. You have Javon Hadley from Colorado, who I think is a stud. You have Terrence Edwards Jr. from James Madison, who I think is a stud.
Yeah, I mean, he was like the best player on that James Madison team.
Yeah, I mean, Chucky Hepburn for Wisconsin last year was a stud. He's a great player, great role player, great point guard. I just think that it might take all years. The thing that stinks, right? It might take all year because not only are you bringing all transfers in, but you're bringing all transfers in and a new coach, and you don't have anybody here that has cemented themselves as a stud at the Power 5 conference level. You've had Javon Hadley, who, I mean, Colorado's Power 5, but they're good, and he was a great player for them, but you don't have a bona fide Power 5 scorer, and I think it has to be Terrence Edwards Jr., but it just hasn't shown that yet. So Louisville, I think if they can turn it around maybe midway through the season instead of, in year 2, halfway through year 1, this could be a really dangerous team come tournament time. But the way they're playing right now and the way that they're probably going to play for the next 2 months, it's tough.
Yeah, and that's why I hated picking them, but it stood out to me the most because I obviously was watching, I was tuned in, and the whole game, it was bad.
Yeah.
There just wasn't really any glimmer of hope for most of it. It was just, all right, Tennessee's doing whatever they want, and
Yeah.
just punished them.
Yeah. You want to know a team that had hope is New Mexico. That which brings me right into my anti-team of the week. And this is a team, UCLA here, right? The UCLA Bruins. This is a team that we talked about. I mean, we didn't talk too much college basketball over the offseason, which I think is awesome because we save all of our content for this.
Yep.
But we didn't talk too much, but we talked a little bit about UCLA should not be ranked as high as they are to finish in the Big Ten. I mean, they were ranked coming into the season. I just don't think that we didn't agree with it, right? And it's like coming into the
Yeah.
season, you have nothing to base that off of other than just personal thoughts, right? I
Yep.
don't think they're that high. That's all you can say. Now we can see they shouldn't have been that high. There's no reason that you should go play New Mexico and struggle the way that they did and lose that game. They I think they will be good this season. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying they're not going to be a tournament team. They're not going to win some big games. They're not going to maybe go into wherever Mackey and go upset, Purdue. That could absolutely happen. But like I just think that this UCLA team is extremely overrated for now.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, you look at it, they came into the season preseason number 22, and you look at them, they're a completely different team from last year. I mean, they brought back about 3 or 4 guys, but they're all younger guys. They lost really their senior leader. And for a team like Mick Cronin, that's just not something you ever see.
Mm-mm.
Cronin always has junior or senior leaders that will help lead this team and these younger guys. And you saw it against New Mexico the whole time. They just brought no juice. They looked like they know what they were doing out on the floor together. Their power forward, number 34, I don't remember his last name, but I know it's something foreign. He was the only person in double digits. Nobody else got into double digits. And I sadly watched the whole game, and it was really, really tough to watch because, like you said, you expect for people to pick UCLA to finish in the top, 4 to 5 in the Big Ten, and some people even picked them to win it.
Mm-hmm.
I know it's early and it's week 1, but that is not what you want to see out of a team that's going to pick to finish top 5 in the Big Ten.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I'm right there with you. So I'm gonna go ahead and go with my player of the week here. And this is one that after his first performance, I think it was impossible for him to not get talked about on the show here. And that's it's against University of Texas, Rio Grande Valley, right? But he puts up 49 points, 11 rebounds. Follows it up with 24.6 rebounds. He's shooting 90% from the floor right now through 2 games. Ryan Kalkbrenner. I mean,
Absolutely dominating.
yeah, this Creighton team, we knew they were going to be good, right? He decides to forego the NBA draft. He's coming back for another year, right? And he's coming back for another year. He really they have not had the success that they should. Last year, I should say. 2 years ago, you have the good tournament run, right? But last year, they don't have the success that you would have expected them to have. Kalkbrenner was never the guy. Now he is, and he is a stud. In the pick and roll, he is very fluid. He's 3 of 3 from 3 on the season. He's 100% from 3-point range, but also just showing a willingness to shoot that I think can is helps him. It's like in the NBA, you always hear people like, I don't care if you shoot 30% from 3, you have to shoot them because it makes people respect it.
Yep.
Kalkbrenner's the same way. If you can pick and pop, which you're 3 for 3, you can, right? If you can pick and pop, that makes the pick and roll so much more dangerous. And I think that Kalkbrenner is as is kickstarting his season right now and is well on his way to be competing for a National Player of the Year.
Yeah, I mean, you look at it. I don't care who they're playing. It's college basketball. You still have to put the ball in the hoop, and for him to shoot 90% from the field in 2 games and average 36.5 points per game it's ridiculous,
Yeah.
especially at his height. You don't see that in college basketball. I mean, Zach Edey never even did that.
No.
It's honestly insane. And like, if he keeps it up and he keeps working on his 3-point shot and his mid-range shot, how are you going to guard him? The only way you're going to guard him is the fact that he's a little bit slower off the step and off the dribble, but still, he's so tall that he can get his shot up high enough. He's going to be able to put it right in over you. And with a point guard duo of Pop Isaacs and Stephen Ashworth, your 2 guards in this team are really, really experienced and really good.
Yeah, Creighton will be making this as a team of the week at some point this year. I can promise you that.
100%.
Yes. So yeah, I mean, Kalkbrenner's a stud, but he is certainly my player of the week for this week. But over to you for yours.
All right, so my player of the week, we kind of brought up his team already and talked about him. And I know you wanted to talk about him, but you knew that I picked him for my team of the week, player of the week. So I'm going with the Auburn guard freshman, Tahad Pettiford. This kid, he's a little bit undersized. I was looking him up because I didn't really know much about him. I'm gonna be honest with you. I did not
Mhm.
really know much about him. And after Saturday, I went to look him up and see what was going on. And he's only 6'1", 175 pounds. He is extremely undersized. And in their first game against Vermont, where they almost won by 60, he didn't score a single point. He played 20
Yeah.
minutes, didn't score a single point. And that was obviously his first taste of college basketball, but that's got to really hurt as a player, and probably brought him down a lot. Like, I couldn't even score against Vermont. Now I have to go play Houston on Saturday in their backyard, and he showed out. He had 21 points on 7 to 12 shooting, 5 of 8 from deep, 3 assists, and 3 rebounds. He only played 24 minutes. He was insanely efficient, insanely efficient. And if he doesn't play in that game, or he plays like he did against Vermont, Auburn doesn't win.
Oh,
He
no.
was a premium scorer. He had 21, and then Janai Broom had 20. You take him out of the mix with that, Houston has nobody else to guard besides Janai Broom. And we'd be talking a lot different here. And if he didn't play like that, and your team of the week would not be Auburn, and they'd be looking at a loss in the column early. But I was extremely, extremely intrigued with what I saw at him, and if he can continue to do that, he could very well fly under the radar as a first round pick in this year's draft, and be a type of guy like Tyrese Maxey, who for Kentucky, only had a few big games, but he continuously got better as the year went on. And if he's that way, I think they're a legitimate dark horse and Final Four caliber team.
No, I love Pettiford here. I'm gonna throw a comparison out there for you, and it's a previous Auburn point guard, Sharif Cooper, is who he reminds me of.
Yeah,
And it's an undersized point guard, right? And it's funny that so he's listed at six. I didn't know he was listed at 6'1", 175. I was looking at his recruiting profile. His recruiting profile, he was 5'10", 175. So he grew 3 inches
yeah.
and
So
didn't
yeah,
put on a
he got some inches.
but didn't put on a pound. So
No,
makes me curious, is he actually 6'1", or is he actually like 5'11"?
I think we know the answer to that. He's definitely
Yeah.
not 6'1".
Yeah. Like, well, somebody like Xavier Simpson, I remember from Michigan, right? I remember he was listed at 6 foot, I believe. And I
Yeah.
mean, we played against him in high school. He was maybe 5'9".
Yep.
Like, it was just, but either way, he reminds me. So he reminds me of Sharif Cooper, that undersized point guard, but can shoot the lights out, can create his own shot, and also can create for others. I love Pettiford here. And I also think he reminds me a little bit of like a Josh Hubbard from Mississippi State. Josh Hubbard, I think, is much more of a shot chucker and less of a creator. And I think Pettiford has that facilitation aspect to his game. He's going to have to, right? Playing with Janai Broom, but like, I think Pettiford is a stud here. I would expect him. I mean, based off of this start, if he continues, obviously you're not going to continue 5 of 8 from 3 every game. If you continue somewhat just playing the similar style that he's playing right now, I'd expect him to be on the all freshman team, the all freshman, all American team, whatever in the world it's called. I would expect him to make that. But no, I love Pettiford here. And we'll go ahead and swing right into the game of the week. There are a ton of good games this week. I'm curious what your game of the week is.
All right, so mine's kind of chalky. I didn't really go do a little deep dive in it, and I mean, I feel like it's an obvious one, but we're gonna head straight to the Champions Classic, and I am going to go with Kentucky versus Duke. I mean, you look at both of these teams. You have a brand new team in Kentucky, all
Mhm.
transfers. I'm almost positive the whole starting five did not play at Kentucky last year. None of these are Cal's guys. And then you go over and you look at Duke. They got the number one player in the nation, most likely going to go number one overall in the draft. You got a shooting guard in Con Knipple, who probably is most likely going to go at least top 10. Some may say he's even better than Reed Shepard in last year's draft. Just two absolute studs. And then you throw in Tyrese Proctor and then a few other transfers. And we're standing at a top 10 or top 25 showdown here. And we're really going to get to see what Kentucky's made of. I mean, this is kind of the way my loser of the week was with Louisville. This
Mhm.
is a game where you can prove to the nation and to the country that, look, Kentucky may have lost their coach and all these five-star players, but we're still here. We're still a top 20 team in the country. We brought over Jackson Robinson from BYU with Mark Pope. We got a proven winner in Parrish from San Diego State, a guy who's been to a Final Four. And we're going to take Duke head on, and I think that has the making of being a very high scoring and honestly a very electric basketball game.
Absolutely. I completely agree with you. You have Lamont Butler coming in, right? Also from San Diego State,
Yep.
proven winner there. And you have, in my opinion, the best 3-point shooter in the entire nation in Kobe Brea. Kobe Brea is the definition of a lights out 3-point shooter. I remember watching Dayton last year and thinking every single time this guy catches the ball, it's always immediately in the shooting pocket, and it's like that, and it's
Yep.
off, and it is butter. He will be a great NBA player for somebody if he can figure out enough the defensive side of things, because he can shoot lights out from three. He is somebody that in any game, if you're going to play a transition game, if you're going to say it's going to be a track meet and you're going to let him run and catch the ball in transition at the 3-point line, he'll torch you for 7 of them. He just will. And he did it last year with Dayton plenty of times. And if that's what this game turns into, I wouldn't be surprised if Kobe Brea has a coming out party for UK here. I loved it. I love this game. I think we're really going to see what Mark Pope's boys are made of here.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, talking about Kobe Brea, I saw earlier today that he has more made threes than the whole Arkansas basketball team does. So if you're a Kentucky basketball fan, you can take that one, put it in your back pocket for wherever you need to use it to make fun of, your old coach down there in Fayetteville. But yeah, no, I think this is a fantastic matchup. I love that we're getting all of these early in the year matchups between top 25 teams, blue bloods, because it needs to happen more often.
Yep.
And like you said, this is really going to be a test for Mark Pope and see if he's ready to coach at this high level. Because as we know, he got his team back to the tournament last year at BYU, but they lost first round to Duquesne.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe he can't coach in the big games, and we're going to find out tomorrow night for sure.
Yes, we are. And it was hard for me to not go Michigan State, Kansas as my game of the week, right? As a
Yep.
a state fan. Yeah, if you haven't, and if any new viewer that has not watched yet, you'll probably find out quickly. But no, it was hard for me not go, but I didn't want to go Champions Classic, right?
Yeah.
Also, real quick, one last point about Kobe Brea, because we were just harping on him. 10 of 12 from 3 this year. I don't think he's going to shoot 83% all season, but I will say it's hard for me to say think he's going to miss enough that he's going to shoot less than 55% from 3, which is a spectacular clip, like an unreal clip. But that's my last comment about Kobe Brea. Shooting 83% right from now, but we could be looking at a record-breaking season. I don't know what the 3-point percentage record is for a season, but he's somebody that could break it.
He's definitely going to be up there for it.
Yeah, absolutely. But my game of the week, I'm going to go to Friday, and I'm going to go to Bama Purdue. This Bama-Purdue game, Bama plays tonight against McNeese State, right? We're recording this on Monday. They play tonight against McNeese State. I'm assuming they're going to win, right? That could be a big upset. That would be massive. But assuming they win, this Bama-Purdue matchup, I think, has everything written all over it. You have star-studded Mark Sears. You have a new team in Purdue coming in, right? Where you have Braden Smith. You have to take a huge step forward this year. Last year, your job was, I would say, semi-easy. You could come off a pick and roll and throw the ball near the rim, and Edey would catch it and dunk it. Now you have to facilitate a little bit more. You have to take care of the ball really well. Fletcher Lawyer, you have to shoot lights out. I think there's a lot of different things here coming in with this Purdue team that I want to see. You also have the new freshmen. They just are they copy and repasting, or copy and paste with this new freshman coming in for Edey? I think there's a lot of things I'm excited to see. And this Bama team, I think, this is a statement game for either team. Both teams have the ability to cement themselves as we are competing for it this year, especially Bama. Depending on how this game goes, I am thrilled to spend my Friday night watching this game.
Yeah, no, I mean, I agree. This is going to be the game that starts off the weekend. I mean, you look at this game, the two teams both went to the Final Four last year. Obviously, Zach Edey's gone. The replacement freshman, Jacobson, he is now out for the year.
Oh, is he really?
Yeah,
I
he's
didn't know
out
that.
for the year. He fractured his tibia. So he's out for the year now. So I don't even know who the starter's going to be now.
Oh, man.
But yeah, it's going to be really interesting because you look at this team in Alabama. I mean, they get up and they run. They run, they shoot, they just go. And a lot of people are going to be saying, well, look at them this past week. What did they do against Arkansas State? They struggled with them. It was a close game. They still put up in the 80s, maybe even got to 90. And the head coach for Arkansas State is Nate Oates' former assistant of like 10 plus years. Like, yes, he's going to know exactly what Nate Oates is going to be doing. So, yeah, it's going to be a close game. I don't care who he's coaching for. He's going to know, and his players are going to know exactly what Nate Oates is doing. So, for anybody who's going to try to say that, well, Bama shouldn't be up that high. They struggled at home against an Arkansas State team. Arkansas State's picked to win the Sun Belt. They got, I think, 12 out of the 13 votes to win the Sun Belt. They're going to be a tournament team unless they trip up in their conference tournament. But yeah, no, you look at it, this Bama team, it's going to be Braden Smith versus Mark Sears. And I think we saw in the first game for Purdue that I don't know if Braden Smith was ready for it. I don't know if he was ready to have to score. Yeah, he had double digits assists again, and he ended up finishing with I think like 12 or 15 points. But it was like a lot of garbage time points, and he was kind of coming off pick and rolls, like you said, and getting a layup or mid range. He wasn't looking to score, and I think if he's not going to keep looking to score, they're not going to hit that next level of what they could be. I mean, because you already know Fletcher Loyer is going to score. He's a really, really good shooter, and they also have a sophomore who was a stud. Didn't play a lot of minutes last year, and he came in this year. And the first game, I think he had like 16 points in the first half. But if you're Blaine Smith, you got to start looking to score. It's as simple as that. If you want to be another top 10 team, top 15 team, you have to be able to do both. You got to be able to pass. You got to be able to shoot. You can't just rely on getting 12 to 15 assists a game and trying to break the assist record, because you continuously passing the ball is not going to get you anywhere.
No, I'm right there with you. I think Braden Smith has an adjustment to make, and we're going to get to see it in prime time on Friday night. Now we will move into here real quick as we close the show up here. Upset pick. Our upset pick has to be somebody that's not favored in the game. We expect not to be favored in the game. And I believe both of our picks are staying on this Friday night slate. That is just spectacular.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with, and I think we're actually both leaning with a red Big Ten team. I'm going with Wisconsin over Arizona here. I think that Arizona, don't get me wrong, this is nothing towards saying that I don't think Arizona is good. I think Arizona is a very good team. You have the established, experienced scorer in Caleb Love. We all know what he can do. But I think going into Wisconsin, this Wisconsin team has always, always, always been able to just shoot the lights out of the game at any point. And when you have Max Klessman on the court and you have surrounded him with other shooters as well, I think that this Wisconsin team has the ability to go shoot 45, 50% from three in a game while also shooting 30 of them and dominate a game. They did it to Michigan State last year, so I know they can do it. I know you're without AJ Storr, but I really think this Wisconsin team from three-point range is such a threat that if you're going to go into there as Arizona, if you don't shoot well and you turn it into a track meet, which Arizona does like to do, you turn it into a track meet and you don't shoot the greatest, Wisconsin can run away with it.
Yeah, no, I think this is actually a really good pick, especially it's a Friday night. Wisconsin hosts Oregon the next day in football. So the campus is already going to be juiced up. It's going to be on fire. And I agree with you. This Wisconsin team is flying under the radar right now. They got a great coach in Greg Gard. I think he doesn't get enough credit for the job he's done at Wisconsin. And you look at the team, they're, I would say, for the most part, pretty veteran-heavy team. I mean, you got Steven Crowd down low for his 12th year in college basketball. I feel like he's honestly been there since I was back in high school. Like it's like he's never going to leave. But yeah, he's back down, holding down the middle. I mean, this, like you said, they lost Chucky Hepburn and they lost AJ Storr, but I think they still brought it back enough to where if you catch Arizona on a really cold night where Caleb Love's chucking, 4 of 20, and he's not getting any other help, I think this is a major, major upset spot solely based on the fact that, this place is going to be juiced up and Wisconsin can just take the air out of the ball.
Yeah, I mean, I think Wisconsin's got a good chance at home, like you said, with the big game of football on Saturday, big basketball game on Friday. I think it's going to be an electric atmosphere, that's for sure. Be fun to see him win that. But over to you, last part of the show here, your upset team here.
All right, so for my upset, I picked this prior to the new AP poll coming out, but I still believe that it'd be an upset. I'm going to take Ohio State to go down into College Station and beat A&M. I mean, yes, A&M had I wouldn't say it's a bad loss in the first game of the year at UCF, but I would say it's not a great. Like obviously, it's not a great loss. That's a game you should have won. You had multiple chances at the end to win it. Um, but I could see Ohio State going in there because they're really underrated. Um, my Bearcats played them in an exhibition and beat them like a drum by 20. But look what we see they did in their first game of the year. They played Texas at a neutral court, and I mean Texas has one of the best freshmen in all of college basketball, and Trey Johnson, and they handled them. I mean, they absolutely handled them. It was never close. I mean, it always would get down into 8, but they were always hovering around that 10-12 range the whole game. I think Ohio State and Jake Diebler are not getting the credit they deserve. I mean, I know they're getting the 21 ranking now, but I mean, preseason they weren't getting any love. You know, people were like, this team isn't going to finish higher than about 6th in the Big Ten. I think they could go down and beat Texas A&M, drop them out of the rankings, and Buzz Williams and Texas A&M are staring at a 1-2 start with 2 losses that they almost surely had circled as winners before the year started.
Yeah. No, I love it. I think Ohio State, like you said, is very underrated. You have great guard play, in my opinion. Bruce Thornton is a great player. And you bring back Michi Johnson, right? He starts there, goes to South Carolina, comes back. He's like a girl on prom night, right? Can't decide what she wants to wear. That's what Michi Johnson's decided like right now. But I think they're studs, right? Michi Johnson can facilitate really well. And Bruce Thornton is a proven scorer with this team. You know, he can score, he can facilitate, he can do what needs to be done, and he likes Diebler, right? They connect really well. So I think that this Ohio State team is dangerous and they are underrated. And I this Friday night slate, they're both of our upset games are at 9 p.m. Be interesting to see what happens in those. But the Friday night slate's spectacular. Tuesday night slate's spectacular. I am thrilled for this week. My camera's bugging out there a little bit and going blurry. I think they're telling us to wrap the show up there. But other than that, though, this has been the Sports Geeks podcast. They play, we talk. Thanks for watching, guys. Peace.
Thanks.